Digimon Last Evolution. Is this final Digimon movie better than all of Digimon Tri? So what's up guys, Foxen here. Digimon Last Evolution being better than all of Digimon Tri is something I was hoping to say walking out of this final Digimon movie. Let me change that up a bit. This last Digimon movie is better than most of Digimon Tri. So if you're a Digimon fan, go ahead and smash that like. And please, Toei, don't flag this video. In the past, Toei has abused the copyright system here on YouTube to take down pretty much all my Digimon content. To make it worse, sometimes it's Toei from Japan and sometimes Toei from the US. I'm really just getting screwed from both ends. But anyway, a couple quick things to keep in mind. This Digimon Last Evolution video is non-spoiler, although there is a spoiler section at the end. Feel free to ask me any questions, especially spoiler ones, but I do ask you to watch until the end first. On top of this, I have been away from Digimon since the last Digimon Tri movie, so I could be rusty with some Digimon names or terms, so I do apologize in advance. Anyway, let's get into Digimon Last Evolution. From the trailers you've seen, this is taking place 5 years after Digimon Tri. Matt and Tai are now in college. From the trailers, you've really seen one main message, that the Digimon and partners are growing apart as the Digimon destined are getting older. And that really is the main focus and issue of this movie. I'll also mention they try really hard to fit this movie in before the 02 epilogue. After coming out of seeing this movie here in Japan, I'm pretty surprised at just how different this experience was compared to seeing the final Digimon Tri movie, which I did happen to see early here too. First off, the great stuff, which really has to be the animation. Honestly, this is way better than anything Digimon Tri has given you. This movie actually does have movie quality animation, especially for the action scenes. I especially love the opening battle scene with the Digimon. I mean, screw everything else, that has to be my favorite scene in the movie. Talking about animation, I actually also do prefer the character designs here over what Digimon Tri gave us, although that's not bashing the Digimon Tri ones. Story-wise, unlike Digimon Tri, and I may be saying that a lot in this video, Digimon Last Evolution actually has a 3-act structure and just flows much better than the supposed Digimon Tri movies. You got the opening action scene and 3 main action scenes spread throughout. For the action set pieces, I would actually rank the first one first, the middle one second, and then the final one at the very end. We'll get into that. Story-wise, I actually did appreciate the Digimon world getting a boost technology-wise. In Digimon Tri, it was still flip phones, and now they sped up into the smartphone age. You've actually seen their new smartphone Digivice in the trailer. I think that was long overdue. As for Digimon evolution scenes, unfortunately there's only 3. There's one for Greymon, Garurumon, and Metal Greymon. If you were a fan of their Digivolution scenes from Season 1, you're definitely gonna get a kick out of this. They're all updated. And yes, since you know Omnimon is in this movie, let me just mention there is no special evolution scene for Omnimon. Naturally, there are tons of other Digimon and Digivolutions in this movie. They most likely cut that due to time reasons. Getting into the actual plot, I mentioned the Digidestined being grown up, for example Tai and Matt being in college, and them dealing with the struggles with that. For example, you have Tai going to class. Meanwhile, Tai is working in this almost janitor type job just to get by. Yeah, looks like saving the world a few times didn't get you rich. Since I'm already on the topic of Tai, let me actually jump into that. Digimon Last Evolution is completely focused on Tai and Matt. It's their story. Due to that, you are getting a lot of wargame comparisons, and I'll get back to this. But first, if you are a fan of Tai and Matt, you're gonna love this movie. On the flip side, if you are a fan of other Digidestined, you might get slightly burnt after seeing this movie. Besides these two, the other Digidestined that do get some screen time include Kari and TK, really only at the start. You do have Izzy sprinkled throughout this, although this guy's busy running his own company. Anyone a fan of Mimi or Joe? Too bad, they get like 5 seconds. Mimi's super busy doing her designer stuff, and Joe's currently in doctor school. At the very bottom, you have Sora, which pretty much sits this whole movie out. She's busy with her flower arrangement stuff. So yes, unfortunately for any Sora fans, you're gonna be disappointed if you want anything out of her. Apparently there are supposed to be a lot of Digimon Adventure shorts that took place in between Tri and this movie. So far the one for Sora has been released, which I'll link to down below. The one focused on Sora pretty much has her coming out and saying she's done with all the Digidestined stuff, which explains her situation in this movie. Oh, but did I forget about some people, the 02 Digidestined. Yes, Davis, Ken, Yoli, and Cody are in this movie. And let me just say, they really function as one unit. No surprise they get more screen time and more involvement than they ever did in Digimon Tri. If anything, as a group, they have the 3rd most screen time after Tai and Matt. If I want to be honest, the 02 cast really spent most of their time doing this side mission. You could really cut whatever the hell they were doing out of this movie and you wouldn't miss anything. So if you're a 02 Digidestined fan, you may be disappointed. And by the way, Yoli in this movie really just felt like this Mimi replacement. And yes, Mammothmon in the room, the Digimon Tri stuff. What is the Digimon Tri connection? If you haven't seen Digimon Tri yet, don't worry, I really think Digimon Tri viewing is not required. There is no Meiko in this movie at all, and if you recall, I didn't hate her character, it was just Tri as a whole that was a mess. Still, I'm glad that they didn't shoehorn Meiko into this movie. I'll just mention there is a small, obvious Tri connection that I'll get into in the spoiler section. Let me just quickly clarify that I'm not Digimon Tri bashing, since after all, it was one of the keys that helped reawaken and refuel the Digimon franchise. If anything, Digimon Last Evolution might have not been made if Digimon Tri never existed. Anyway, as for the Digimon R Wargame vibe, I think pretty much any Digimon fan would get that vibe seeing any of the trailers. And it does feel more like that when you hear that the focus is Tai and Matt. After having seen the movie, let me just mention that I'm pretty happy with the Wargame comparisons. Going into this, I actually expected this movie to almost be a carbon copy of that. But no, in reality, they actually hold back. The most similar stuff to our Wargame would be the second battle scene. And that's pretty much it. If anything, I would say that Digimon Last Evolution draws from every single Digimon adventure thing that came before it, not just a single movie, which is a good and bad thing. And the last little good thing I'll mention is the location. Of course, it's being set in Japan. Not only did I recognize most of the locations where these guys moved around, the freaking first battle took place where I used to live a few years ago. I just got this extra chill seeing that area getting digitrashed. Anyway, getting into issues. First minor stuff, then bigger stuff. For the villain in this movie, you have Eosmon, which you've seen in the trailer, and the issues surrounding this new Digimon. If you heard anything about this movie, you're either gonna hear one of two things. Oh, the whole conflict with this Digimon has already been done. As a counter to that, I would ask, to be honest, what hasn't already been done for Digimon? Or a potential second issue, there wasn't enough time to fully develop and flesh out this obstacle. For the second point, just given that you're only given an hour and a half, combined with them not splitting this into multiple parts, again, thank you Digigons. I'll say that they did the best job possible within those restrictions. If anything, the whole villain situation in Digimon Last Evolution was easily better than whatever tried to do. Anyway, getting into the main issue, if there's any issues with this movie, it is the finale. So I've been watching a lot of anime movies since moving to Japan, and for whatever reason it seems like a lot of these anime movies trip up with the final act. If you've seen some of the trailers and some of the promotional stuff or toys, it's already been spoiled, but I'm not gonna get into it here. So without spoilers, I think that Digimon Last Evolution might have been better just going with the obvious fan service type of ending instead of what they gave you. This almost, wait, what just happened type of scene. By the time that this thing happens, the movie is pretty much over. And to be fair, the movie up until this point has overall been top quality material, which is why I think most fans will give this a pass. One other thing that is really an issue with the actual ending fight scene, the first part was actually done really well. The second part of it was really hard to see since it not only took place in this dark area, everything was moving really quickly. Either way, I'm going to go into depth in the spoiler section. One thing I will say about this ending is, it is cry time. Definitely get your tissues ready. If you're at all a Digimon Adventures fan, I'll be surprised if you don't come out with tears in your eyes. At the very end of this, there is also no end credit scene. Although, to be fair, the ending is left somewhat open. In other words, if this makes enough Digidollars, you could bet your ass there's gonna be another sequel eventually. Talking about a potential Digimon sequel, let me actually talk about the new Digimon Adventure reboot. After seeing this movie, I'm actually getting pretty hyped about Digimon Adventure coming back, this time taking place in our present day with our current tech. On top of this, I'm actually in favor of them making drastic changes to the original story. And I'm curious, what is your take on this? Am I the only one that doesn't want to see the same story again? How about this time everyone going mega in the actual series? But anyway, back to Digimon Last Evolution, should you watch? I would honestly recommend this to any Digimon Adventure fan. If you were at all disappointed with how Digimon Tri turned out, Digimon Last Evolution will restore your faith in the Digimon franchise. Part of me does hope that Digimon Adventure officially ends with this movie. That would make the consequences from this movie run even deeper. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, smash that like if you enjoyed this video, spoiler section up ahead. This is Digimon, so I think even if you know these spoilers, you'll easily still enjoy the movie. Alright, so first off, in this movie there are 3 action sequences. The first one involves Tai, Matt, TK, and Kari and their Digimon versus Parrotmon. Naturally, this whole Parrotmon fight is a callback to the first movie. It definitely is a splash of fan service, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. As for one of the main issues in this movie, I talked about Digimon and their Digimon partners growing apart. Unfortunately for Matt and Tai, that's quite literal. In fact, their smartphone Digivices have this timer that's slowly ticking down until their Digimon officially disappear. Just digivolving, going into Greymon, or using Omnimon, that makes it tick down even faster. The actual issue in this movie is that through this Digimon Aeosmon, Digimon destined throughout the world are falling unconscious. But hold up, the big twist. It turns out Aeosmon is only part of the issue. The true mastermind is Manoa. She's the reason everything is going to hella. It turns out that Manoa was actually a Digidestin back in the day. So get this, the whole reason she was doing this was because she lost her own Digimon when she was younger. You know, the whole growing apart situation. That's how she realized that eventually Digidestin would lose their Digimon as they got older, which is why Manoa came up with this bright solution. Let's put all the Digidestin in this coma and drag their mind into the digital world. In this digital space, they could remain kids forever and be with their Digimon without separating. No one has to suffer, yay. So some of this may sound familiar. You have shades of this being done before. Oh, Digidestin being kidnapped and going back to being kids. The Digimon Zero 2 movie, anyone? Then for Manoa, it really feels like her backstory is a better version of what they were trying to do with Maki, only done better in the space of one movie. If anything, for Digimon Last Evolution, you'll benefit more by not watching Tri, since you won't have that very close comparison. And yes, about some of the Digimon Tri connections. For a split second, they do show Mako and Meicoomon. It turns out that Mako was one of the Digidestin now gone conscious. Then for other Digimon Tri stuff, Gennai. First off, Dark Gennai is not in this movie, nor is there any mention to whatever he did in Digimon Tri. Nope, there's nothing about Demon or Diaboromon, which actually makes it more interesting since young Gennai does appear briefly in this movie. His whole purpose was really just confirming about the whole Digimon and Digimon partner eventually separating. Whoops, forgot to tell you that. Then for anything regarding Daigo and Maki, nothing about them. For some callback to Digimon Season 2, you do get to see a lot of the worldwide Digidestin. For example, I specifically recall that blonde from the Paris trip. Someone on Japanese Twitter also mentioned briefly seeing Willis and Terriermon in the back. I'll definitely be on the lookout the second viewing. Talking about the Zero 2 Digidestin, what exactly do they do? So get this, Davis and the others are in New York via this Digimon Gate, just scouting out this ramen place. Like I mentioned previously, don't expect anything here. The Zero 2 cast does eventually have this short Digimon battle, but their Digimon don't go past champion. For a very fun scene in this movie, you got Tai taking Agumon back to his place. Agumon actually happens to find Tai's kinky stash. Oh, that is fun. Oh, don't mind those Angelomon pictures. Anyway, getting into the actual issue I had, which involves the final battle. I'll say after sleeping on this for a day, I do feel mixed about it. The first part involves Omnimon versus Aeosmon in this mega-ish type of form. This was actually a real treat to see. It actually had me at the edge of my seat. And no joke, Omnimon got super torn up. I mean, his body got sliced and chopped up. It just looked horrible. Even Tai and Matt got bloody at one point. This is actually kind of funny since this is what I expected when seeing the Alphamon versus Omnimon fight. Next up, part 2, eventually after Omnimon gets destroyed. So you have everyone coming to the scene except Sora. You got Tai and Matt at the very last of their Digimon time, shown on their Digimon smartphone. They go ahead and use their final evolution to Digivolve one more time. Out of freaking nowhere, you have this new Agumon and new Gabumon form. I believe they're called Agumon Bond and Gabumon Bond. So for this, there's a couple things I wasn't a fan of here. First off, this really just being almost out of nowhere, which to be fair is less of an issue when it comes to Digimon. But I think I would have much preferred seeing this new War Greymon or Metagarurumon form, which do exist anyway. I mean, it feels similar to the finale of Digimon Tri where you just have a new Omnimon version. Oh, let's just get a new Digimon form out to make some new toys, which they have already been announced. And then my second issue. After they come out, the fight is pretty much over instantly. This is what I alluded earlier about this being quick. I would have had liked to see an actual battle. Then maybe this whole scene could have worked better for me. As for the actual designs of this Agumon Bond and Gabumon Bond, in the actual movie, it's pretty hard to get a good look at them. So far there has been some official art release, some toy pictures, and then some screenshots from the actual trailer. Whatever you see here is actually clearer than whatever you see in the actual movie. In the movie it's either too quick, they're moving way too quickly. This is with the action taking place in this purple dark background. Anyway, for the actual design, for both of these, you look at them and instantly you're gonna think of some Season 4 stuff, the Spirit Digimon. If anything, the Agumon Bond form looks somewhat like some Agunimon form. And then likewise, the Gabumon form looks like some Lobomon variation. When I saw this happening, I was like, oh, you got this bio merch happening. But no, you actually have Matt and Tai sitting on their shoulders. Which really begs the question, why introduce these new forms at all? Besides, of course, the toy angle. But either way, I do think most people are going to give this a pass, especially since the fight is pretty much done. They come out, a minute or two later, done, over. But maybe I'm alone on this. What do you guys think about these new forms? Once again, I'll just remind you that whatever you're seeing here is a lot clearer than whatever you do see in the movie. Anyway, for the actual cry time of the movie, at the very end, the last few minutes of the movie, you have Tai and Matt officially saying their goodbye to their Digimon. You got their Digivice turned to stone and then just getting dusted away. Damn you, Thanos. Let me clarify that it is only Matt and Tai that lost their Digimon. You actually do get glimpses of all the other Digidestined. They still have their Digimon for some time. Anyway, that does wrap it up. If you do have any questions, leave that down below and do smash that like. I am just crossing my fingers that Toei does not take this video down. If this video doesn't get removed and it does do well, hopefully I could get back into doing some Digimon content in the future. Anyway, go ahead and check out my SEO trailer breakdown and also what's been going on with the winter anime season. And I'll see you guys later.